All right, this episode we have the one and only Jennifer Lopez. And I learned a few things in this interview. I know that you told me after, like, wow, that was really, really cool. I let you lead most of the way because it was a little strange for me. And there were some awkward moments, which I think you'll see. But she's great. And she's a Presidente drinker.
She is a Presidente drinker. We went out to your house in the Hamptons. There was Presidente everywhere. I looked around. I was like, this is the perfect summer setting because it has Presidente beer. Presidente beer is one of our favorite sponsors. Presidente beer is good for a beach, a backyard, a couch, wherever you want to be. You need to be drinking an ice cold, refreshing Una Fría from Presidente. I definitely butchered that. With the title of Presidente Chairman, you know Alex knows this beer is a good bet. So what are you waiting for? Invest in your own refreshment now and grab the DR's finest export wherever beers are sold near you. And for lucky fans, we're giving away some amazing prizes. Presidente beer for a year, a signed baseball by yours truly and ARod, Presidente swag, and the Corp swag. And here's what you have to do to enter. You must be 21 plus, must be following at ARod Corp, and at Presidente_USA on social media. And you text your name and why you should win to ARod's personal phone number, 305-690-0485, 305-690-0485, and you can win all of that stuff. The beer is 100% Corp-certified and approved. ARod, you're going to think that I am just sucking up right now, but I'm going to say it. This was my favorite interview of season 3.
Yeah, she was great, and it was in our home, and I thought it was awesome. I couldn't believe how much she opened up. I mean, she's always very honest, but she opened up and she crushed it. I think this will be our most watched and most heard. That's what I think.
And obviously we had some great guests, and I loved all the guests in their own way, but there's something about JLos' personality. And Hank, our producer, and I, when we were driving back to the city, we both had that same thought of it's infectious. Mm-hmm. And the energy that she puts off just makes you want to talk to her forever, because she just had some of the most thoughtful answers. And she also smelled great, which I kind of ruined it at the end when I said that. But it was just so much fun. Did you, afterwards, when we left, was she like, why'd you ask me that question? Or were you in any trouble?
It's funny when you and Hank left, Jennifer said, did he really say that I smell good?
I mean,
I go, yeah, that's Dan.
I was downwind and she smelled great. And people expect me to say that when it happens. So it was an awesome interview. I'm so excited for people to listen to this. Before we get to the interview, our friends from Cross Country Mortgage, buying a home should not be scary. Getting a mortgage should not be a scary word. Cross Country Mortgage is the way to go, because Cross Country Mortgage is going to work with you personally. They're like a mom and pop shop. They've been doing it since 2003. ARod, how many mortgages have you had in your life?
I've had plenty. It's a great tool if you're smart, and Cross Country won't let you do dumb things.
Right.
So be smart with your mortgages, but also at the same time, it is a great time. They work very fast. They work virtually. Mm-hmm. Is not only buying a house, but is also refining a house. So if you have a lot of equity, interest rates at an all-time low, so you're able to fix your rate for 5, 7, 10 years, and you get the benefit of a renter, but you own your own house, and that's where Cross Country can be a great partner to you. And if you've never bought a house, don't be intimidated. If you don't have great credit, don't be intimidated. Call. They move very fast, and Cross Country is awesome.
It's such a great point, because you don't have to be someone who, you could already have a mortgage you're trying to refinance. You could be someone who's never thought about having a mortgage and has bad credit. You can find out from Cross Country Mortgage if you qualify, and they will help anyone at least start the process. Whatever you're looking to do, they're very, very approachable. I think that's the best part that they have going for them, is that you don't have to feel intimidated. You don't have to feel like it's this big, scary process. Cross Country Mortgage is going to talk to you like a human being, and that's so important.
As a matter of fact, Dan, you, all listeners, everybody should appraise what kind of mortgage do I have, and just test it cross country and see how your mortgage is compared to what they can do.
Yeah.
And you may run into a great deal.
Shop around.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Make sure that you are getting the most bang for your buck. So Cross Country Mortgage is the place to go. Like we said, if you're a first-time home buyer, military vet, or a person with less than stellar credit, Cross Country Mortgage has worked with everyone from every background, and they're here to work with you. They will do it fast, closings in under 24 hours. They will make sure that you are in the perfect position. And all you got to do is go to ccmlens.com/corp, ccmlens.com/corp to learn more about your future home buying experience. That's ccmlens.com/corp to learn more. ccmlens.com/corp. Cross Country Mortgage LLC, NMLS 3029, Equal Housing Opportunity. Go to crosscountrymortgage.com for licensing and disclosures.
All right, here we go. The boss, Jennifer Lopez.
You're listening to The Corp, presented by Barstool Sports.
Okay, we have saved our best guest for last. It is no introduction, but we'll introduce JLo, Jennifer Lopez. I'm sitting next to your fiance.
Yes.
I have the distinct pleasure of navigating this interview. I don't know if you guys are gonna get along. If you're
who's
gonna
gonna
be good.
who's gonna lead this interview?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering that. But I'm very excited to have you.
Thank you.
Have you here on the Corp. This is
Thank
gonna be
you.
awesome. I'm very nervous.
Why?
I wrote down an icebreaker. It was going to be first question, are you still Jenny from the block?
Yes.
But is that lame?
What's a dumb question?
Okay, that's what I thought. See
We're off
what
to
I
a good
did there?
start.
I basically pretended like I wasn't
No.
going to ask that.
No,
But people might.
No, somebody might want to know that. Yeah. No, I think, for me, I just always feel like I am. Like that part of me being born in the Bronx and that upbringing and being there till I was in my 20s, is such a big part of who I am. And I guess that's why I tout that flag no matter where I go.
I love that.
That's from the song.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I didn't mean for that to happen, but
No.
it did. By the way, I talk with my hands. This is not going to work.
Yeah. I love that, though, because I think a lot of people...
Make an adjustment.
A person with your success could
Yes.
easily be like, what? Jenny from the block? No. Absolutely not. I'm totally different now. I got everything. You did the Super Bowl halftime show.
Things are different now, but who you are inside your mind, you know what I mean, never changes,
Yeah.
That's who you are.
I like that.
So going back to the Bronx, you mentioned the Bronx. You played.
Here we go. The serious interview
Yes.
starts.
No.
And it begins.
Yes.
Not at all.
Yes.
You played sports, and you claimed that you were a shortstop, and you played
First of all, I
track.
did not claim I was a shortstop.
Tell
And
us about your
I
game.
was a star shortstop, just like you. We have a lot in common. Yeah, no, I started playing softball when I was very young. I always loved sports. So I played, I was a big tomboy when I was little. And I always had my knees scraped, by the way, still do. I just love it. I always loved being active, and I played softball. I started Little League probably when I was 8 or 9 years old, and I was the shortstop. And I did have a nice bat. I did.
And had wheels?
For a girl.
Wheels.
I always had wheels. I wasn't like the fastest person, but more than that, I think I had the most heart, and that's what made me a good player.
I'm always curious this. Someone who has the fame and accomplishments that you have, when you were a kid, did you think to yourself, like, someday I'm gonna do all this?
Yes.
You did?
I did think. It just sounds crazy.
No, but I kind of love that because I feel like there's a lot of people who think that and then it doesn't work out. But it's like when you think it and then it actually happens.
Yeah, it actually happens. No, I always thought that I was always waiting for something special to happen. In my life, grew up in a very regular neighborhood in the Bronx. I used to go Mom used to give me $5. I used to go buy eggs and milk, and what I mean. It was just like a very regular upbringing, and I used to play in the street, but I'd be sitting in church, and then I thought the priest was gonna pick me to do something, right. Or somebody was gonna talk to me, like God was gonna talk to me, or something. I don't know. And I would have thoughts like that. And I always knew from very young too, like when I would watch TV or watch movies, like that I wanted to do that. I knew I wanted to do that, and I felt like I was going to do that. I had no idea what the path was there, but I knew somehow, some way, I was gonna figure that out.
So follow up to that, what was the moment, can you remember it, when you said, I've actually achieved this, I've made it, the quote unquote made it, like, this is actually my life now?
Yeah, I think there was different moments. But I think probably one of the biggest was when I was, somebody let one go over there. Okay. Excuse you. I think the big moment, I had just released my first album, so I had done a few movies already. I had was traveling in Europe. It was the middle of the night, so I was jet lagged, and I was promoting a single. I don't know which one it was, and we were just over there. And I was in this big, beautiful hotel suite by myself with my girlfriend from the Bronx, who was my assistant now. And I just picked her because, not that she knew how to be an assistant, but she was just hanging out with me. And we were both there, and she was dead asleep. And I'm walking around this hotel room, and we were performing at the MTV Europe Awards the next day. And so they had like all the costumes out and all the shoes and all this stuff. And as I walked through the room, so I went from my bedroom into this big living room, into this other room where they had set up like glam, the table and everything, and all the shoes were there. And it was like shoes lining the whole entire room. And I looked and I was like, I grew up with like holes in my sneakers. Like, when did this happen?
Right.
And it just kind of hit me like, oh my God, like, I have a lot of shoes. Like,
Yes.
I can wear any one of these shoes, and none of them have holes. When did this happen? It was just like the symbolism of that, because I remember like my foot always scraping, like the ball of your foot. You know when you wear down your sneakers when you're young? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that only happened to us. I would always remember the ball of my foot on the concrete, like just as it would break through. And then just standing there in this room full of clothes and shoes and never thinking that would ever be my life. But thinking in that moment, like, wow, when did my life get to be this?
Yeah, that's a great story.
When you think about your talents and, you go from businesswoman to fashion, acting, dancing, singing, tell me one or two characteristics that you got, positive ones, from Lupe and one from David, mom and dad.
Oh, that's a good question, baby. Baby, you're so good at this.
Thank you.
You are so good at this.
I like this. Usually I suck up to him.
No, because, I've done 1,000 interviews. So whenever I hear a question like I've never heard before, it's always very impressive. One positive thing from my mom and one positive thing from my dad. I think my dad was, there were opposites. My mom was kind of very outgoing, as you know, life of the party person, and my dad is very quiet. And I think, I have a lot of both of them in me. Mm-hmm. And I think my dad, being calm is a superpower. I got that from him. Like, he could really, and I realized that in show business, that is something that is paramount. You have to know how to like stay calm in very high pressure situations, whether you're in front of 20,000, if you're at the Super Bowl performing, or if you're, on a set somewhere, or if you're in an interview that gets a little hazy and everything's on the line. Like, you have to be able to stay super calm. Like, it is a real superpower. And I think I got that from my dad, who is very much like that. From my mom, I think, I got, if there's any such thing as the it factor or star quality or anything, I got it from my mom. Lupe should have been a huge star, because she has that charisma, that thing, and I think that I got that from her.
So you mentioned being calm, and you mentioned the Super Bowl. I had that written down.
Yeah.
First of all, it feels like, 10 years ago?
7,000 years ago.
Halftime show?
Yeah.
Were you calm in that moment? Were you nervous leading up to it? I mean, that is the biggest stage for a performer, the halftime of the biggest game in America.
Right. It is the biggest stage in the world. And leading up to it, I think I was more nervous than on the day. For me, preparation meets the moment. And I was so prepared that in the moment, I was just like ready to go. It was like a thoroughbred in the gates. It was just like, please let me out of the gates. Please let me go. But I stood there, and I also get very calm. Again, that's when like David, my dad, kicks in, and I'm just like standing there waiting. But leading up to it was probably the most nerve-wracking, and Alex can attest to this, high stress moments of my whole career.
Right.
I could never have imagined it would be that stressful. And I think it's because everybody understands the weight of it and the fact that it is 100% live and 1,000 different things could go wrong. And so people feel that, and everybody you work with feels that, and everybody's on edge, and everybody's like at each other's throats and things like that. So it was pretty intense, but I love the people I work with, and we literally got so much closer from doing that show than maybe anything in the past 10 years.
So when you do a show like that, are you a perfectionist after the fact? Like if you maybe miss like a half a move that someone watching on the couch wouldn't even know?
Yeah.
Do you beat yourself up about it, or are you like?
Yep.
You do.
Yep.
So it sticks with you.
Yep.
Because I thought it was a great show.
Thank you.
Did you make any mistakes?
Thank you. I didn't make any mistakes.
Not one?
I didn't make any mistakes, thank God. But, it went off, honestly, without a hitch. But I always feel like I could do better. Mm-hmm. Like, I always feel like I could have done this little piece better or that little piece better. Or, you know what, that piece of hair was in my face or something, I should have done this or I should have done that, always.
I don't know how this is perfection. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I've never seen you work harder. And you're right, it was a stressful time, but you handled it as usual like a champ. I'm wondering, Emmy.
Yes.
Our little baby girl.
Our baby.
I mean, were you more nervous for you or for her?
Well, here's the great thing about being a mom. When your kids are involved, you're more worried about them than you are about yourself. Yeah. And in that moment, putting her in the Super Bowl really worked for me because I'm watching her the whole time. In the sound checks and in the rehearsals, we only had 2 on the stage before we did it, which they usually have 3 days, but for some reason the grass there wouldn't allow it because our stage was too heavy and blah, blah, blah. So we didn't get all of the rehearsal that we wanted on the actual stage. But on the night, I remember, she walked out with me, and all I was doing was monitoring, is she cool? Is she okay? Is she going to be all right? Is she going to freeze? Is she going to freak out? And once we got to the edge of the stage, and I saw her so happy. She was so at ease. I was so proud. And I was like, okay, now I can just concentrate on myself for a couple minutes and do my thing.
That's awesome.
And it was good.
That
But
was
you were
awesome.
there. You were
That
on the
was-
sidelines with us.
It was perfection.
Alex, we should ask Alex how he felt.
Yeah. Were you doing selfie videos?
Well, no, I did a selfie video,
Yeah.
and all my friends said, Alex, were you on drugs?
Yeah.
I mean, I was acting so crazy, but to me, it was also a release of stress for her. We went to the gym that morning, and I was driving her, and she was talking to me. I was ignoring her. I was like, I'm not getting in the way of anything. It's your day. I'm focused. We'll talk Monday. And she's like,
So
you
we're
can still
not
talk to
we're
me.
not talking today? That's what's happening? And he's like, no, you're in your zone. I'm just like, I'm trying not to get in the way. I'm like, okay.
How long does the adrenaline stay pumping after a performance like that?
Dude, after that performance, it stayed for an hour and a half at least.
Really?
And listen, we didn't go to sleep till 6 a.m. that night or something. It was crazy, and usually after a 2-hour show, if it finishes at 11:30, I'll be up till 3 or 4, 2 to 4.
Yeah.
But that one, I felt like, oh my God, it's so much energy coming at you from the stadium itself, but also from the whole world. It feels like, and you feel it. Like you can garner it in a way. As a performer, you can kind of take it all in and give it back. So in that sense, it was exhilarating. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, doing the halftime show must do. Put it on your bucket list. So you said that you like when you get asked questions that you don't usually get asked. You might not have been asked this one before, but so when I walk up 2 flights of stairs and I try to talk to someone, I can't. How do you sing and dance at the same time? How does that work?
It's a stamina thing. It's just like anything. You kind of have to train yourself for it. And after years and years of doing it, you learn how to do it better, where to push, where to hold back, where you can kind of, relax a little bit. And you find it. You pace yourself out. And also in the rehearsal process, as you do the show, sometimes you get too ambitious and you go, you know what, I can't sing here if we do that. I have to take that out. And I do a lot of dancing in my shows. So I always want to balance it. I always want to make sure that they get, all the song they want, but they also get all of the, performance that they want too, like dancing wise.
So unfortunately, I think the answer is hard work.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm out on that. I'll just keep
Right.
being out of breath when I go
Right.
upstairs.
Dan,
That's fine.
I've always wondered this, and Jennifer is such a kind of multitude of talents. My question is singing, dancing, acting. Which one do you think is your number one superpower?
Ooh.
It would be hard for me to pick between performing live and acting. You know what I mean? Because when I'm on stage, I really feel like I'm my best self. Like that's where I was meant to be, and I feel really at ease up there. And not only do I feel at ease, I feel like the best person I can be in my life as a human being. That's who I am when I'm up there. But I think some people would say that acting is my biggest talent if you're gonna like measure them. But I don't know. I don't
Can
know.
I give you a tip?
Yeah.
You just say being a mom.
Being a mom, just leave it
It's
alone.
Easy. Yeah. So easy.
And everybody buys
Yeah,
that.
and everyone's like,
and
"Oh my God,
I
it's
come
so
off
sweet."
looking like, like the sweetheart.
Oh, your number one super
I'm
talent.
sorry,
Being a
I won't
mom.
answer the question.
Yeah. Can we talk real quick about the possibility of you being the first woman owner of a sports franchise? I heard a couple things in the news.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in this day and age, that would be something that would be so amazing. I don't have anything to report on that end right now, but I think in every field, especially institutions like Major League Baseball or that are so American in this moment in time, it is important for diversity, and it is important for women to have positions of power that they've earned and deserve, and can contribute in a way that is just as good as any man on the planet. So of course I am for it. Nothing to report.
Sounds
though, as of now.
exciting.
Yeah.
Would you hire me?
For what?
Anything. I'll actually pitch myself right now.
Tell me, pitch.
I think I would be great as just a guy in the clubhouse. No real job, just hanging out, like just cracking some jokes.
Do people get paid for that?
Would you? I mean, there's
And
gotta be
Alex is
clubhouse
like,
guys.
actually, yes.
Like, yeah, that actually is.
Actually, in
wait,
baseball,
he's like,
there
wait, do you
is
have
the
sunflower
guy.
seeds in your pocket? Okay, yes. That is
Mascot.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's
Mr.
the
Med,
thing.
no, it's Mr. Med. I just want to just hang out, just kind of be a hangout guy.
A hangout guy?
Yeah.
Alex has some of those. You could be one of Alex's.
Exactly.
Maybe if
Nick
I
loves
get
it.
into
Don't look
baseball,
at- don't
if
do
I
that.
get into baseball, maybe I'll need one. I don't
right.
know.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. All right. Well, I'm gonna say that's a maybe.
Okay.
And
You're gonna leave space for that.
yeah, I'm excited for the future. What could happen there? Because I agree with you. It would be a fantastic story.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
One thing is, Jennifer, you haven't actually driven a car in over 25 years.
Yes. Is this one of the questions?
This is one of the questions.
Either
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the two questions. He
I mean,
promised he's
I
going
have
to.
driven a car in scenes in movies.
Yeah, and so
Does that count?
No.
tell us about a story
Uh-huh.
when you were probably a teenager, and I think it was your uncle, and you were kind of foreshadowing the future.
Yeah.
Tell us that story.
No, I told Alex years ago, he's like, why don't you, when we first started dating, like, why don't you drive? And I said, I don't have to. That's
a great answer.
He's like, I said, plus at a certain point in my life, in my career, okay, let me go back. So when I was younger, I had an uncle who passed away, who I love, my tío negro, and he loved cars. So he used to like mess around with cars and everything. And he was like, are you going to get your license as soon as you're like 15? I think in New York you can get it when you're 15, your permit or whatever. And I was like, no. And he goes, what? Why? Every kid in New York can't wait to get their permit and drive. And I said, because I'm not going to need to know how to drive. I'm going to have a driver. And he always reminded me of that. My whole life, even to up when he passed away, and I told Alex that thing. But I got to a point, I was always a bit of a workaholic, and so I would always take projects back to back. And I did drive at one point when I first moved out to LA, and I was working all the time as a fly girl, and then I started acting, and then I started doing films. I was driving myself, and then back to back to back at 5 a.m, finally I had to start asking for a driver because I'd fall asleep at the wheel. And I was like going to get into an accident.
Wow.
Right. And you haven't been driving since.
And I never drove again.
Okay, so that's a good segue to my next question. Workaholic.
Yes.
You've done it all. Is there going to be a point you think that you're going to be like, I'm going to chill out and I don't have to keep doing this. I don't have to keep go. Or like, what is the next 10 years of your life look like? And will you be just pushing as hard as you have for the last 30?
I fantasize about a time that I don't work.
Right.
Right? But I think in reality, it's not really who I am. But I do think the quarantine has made me realize that I do need more balance in my life. And that's something I've been leading up to for the past few years anyway, where I was like, okay, I need more balance. I don't have to work as much. I have to do less. And, Alex coming into my life was a big part of that as well. When you have a real partner, you can kind of go, okay, you take the reins for a little bit, and then I'll take them, and then we'll pass them back and forth, and, you be with the kids, and I'll be with the kids, so that part has helped a little bit, but the quarantine and this time and spending so much time with the family and still being very productive and getting a lot done made me realize, like, there's a different way to work. Maybe I wasn't working in the best way that I could have for what's really important in my life, which is my kids and my family.
Yes. Number one.
Because you think you're doing great. You're like, I'm doing great. I'm working. I'm a working mom. I work all the time. And I take care of my kids, and my kids are happy, and this and this and that. And then during this time we were together, and I realized, wait, they need me more than that. They need me. They don't need just this. And you realize I could do better.
Yeah.
I can actually do better. And even though I was doing okay, we were doing great, we could do better. And I think that's the goal for me in my life, is always like, how do I do better? How do I get better?
I like that, because I think that I've not to the same level as you, because you work probably a million times harder than I do. But having a son and being able to like be at home for 3 straight months and seeing like every little step,
life-changing.
He turned 1 and it's like every little step. It's like, oh, like if I would take moments and be like, well, right now on the calendar, I would have been on the road. I would have missed this. I would have missed that.
Right.
Like, this is kind of cool that I can be more in tune with like the day-to-day things.
Exactly. And you realize like the conversations you're having, or even us, like me and Alex, we were like having dinner every single night with the family. It's such a big deal. It's such a game changer, because we had discussions and conversations that we didn't know some of these things were on our kids' minds. You know what I mean? Like, you just go through life and they're doing their activities. By the way, they're just as busy as we are. Like, we have to scale back on their stuff so we can see them, because they go off and do their own things. Like, that family time is crucial and sacred, and we need it. And I think this whole reset of the world was a lot about that, I think.
We've got more JLo coming up in a second, but before we get to that, Simply Safe. I've been talking about Simply Safe all season. I love Simply Safe. I love Simply Safe because Simply Safe sets you up to make sure that your home is secure, your loved ones are secure, and it takes no time and it's no hassle, and it's the best out there because there's no tricky contracts, no high prices, and no lousy customer support. So while there are a lot of options out there to protect your home and loved ones, there's really only one no-brainer, and that is Simply Safe. Simply Safe's got everything you need to protect your home with none of the drawbacks of traditional home security. It's got an arsenal of sensors and cameras to blanket every single room, window, and door tailored specifically for your home, and professional monitoring keeps watch day and night, ready to send police, fire, or medical professionals if there's an emergency. You can set it up yourself in under an hour. Just peel and stick the sensors exactly where you need them. No technician required, and there's no contract, no pushy sales guy, no hidden fees, no fine print. All this starts at just $15 a month, and I'm not the only one who thinks Simply Safe is great. U.S. News and World Report named it the best overall home security of 2020, so go to simplysafe.com/corp right now. You get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. So there's no, you just get 60 days for free. Try it, see if it works. I guarantee it will. And if it doesn't, you have no risk. So free shipping, 60-day risk-free trial with simplysafe.com/corp. There's nothing to lose here, guys. That's simplysafe.com/corp, simplysafe.com/corp. Make sure that your loved ones, your possessions, your everything are protected with simplysafe.com/corp. Okay, back to JLo.
So Jen, going back to the Jenny from the block, you're 21, 22, even younger, 18, 19. Who were the people that inspired Jennifer Lopez? And it could be singing, dancing, actors, actresses that really moved you.
There was a few, and I could even go further back than that. You know, when I saw the movie West Side Story, that changed my life. I was very young, and we'd watch it every year. And every year I would become inspired to do movies and to sing and act and dance, right? And then I go to like when I'm 16 years old and I'm, you know, listening to Madonna every day, you know what I mean? Or however old I was at that time. And yeah, around 16 and 15 and seeing her run in the park and realizing that, you know, it wasn't just about being a singer or a performer. It was also about like being in shape and being driven and the ambition of that, and you know, and then different things beyond that, right? Like other performers and actors.
Like who?
Like Tina Turner, like Janet Jackson, like James Brown. Just their energy for me was kind of how I feel on stage and what inspired me to do what I do on stage. It's a version of that, to be honest, in many ways. And then in acting, it was people like Meryl Streep, you know, Robert De Niro, Marlon Brando, like, you know, watching, you know, epic performances. Even Linda Hamilton in Terminator, you know. I remember sitting in the theater watching her and how she had transformed for that role, how she was a different kind of actress, but when she took it to, like, always taking it to another level is something that people don't do all the time. And when you see it, and you see it in front of you, and you see somebody take that effort and do that, and it works, and you're like, fuck. Badass bitch, like, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do, you know?
Did T-1000 give you nightmares? Gave me nightmares. The bad guy from Terminator?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no.
When he does, like, the walk,
I don't remember
run.
his name was T-1000.
Yeah, when he does the walk, run, and it's like, how can you get away from this guy? And then he melts and all that stuff.
I know.
That movie's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
great. Yeah.
I mean, I always ask, I try to get into ARod's head about like who his inspirations are for baseball.
Yeah.
And I think everyone who's had success has been inspired by someone.
Oh, you have to, right? You come up, you see something, it touches you, it moves you, it never leaves you, you know, and then you just go building upon that.
But even now, you're always studying. I mean, Dan, one thing about Jen is that she's always working. Even when she's not working, she's studying, she's reading a book, she's always self-improving. I've never been around someone whose work ethic matches her curiosity and is a lethal combination. I'm wondering, like, from the younger people out there, and there's a lot of talented people, anybody that jumps off the page for you that has a lot of talent?
Oh my God, there's so many right now. I mean, on the singing side, I love Ariana Grande. I think she's super talented. It's not just her beautiful voice, it's her spirit. It's her comedy. It's her, you know, her ability to do different things, right? I love seeing that. Billie Eilish.
Emmy loves her.
Emmy, my daughter, love her. We had a real moment at the Billie Eilish concert. And I was like, oh my God, we're bonding right now. It's amazing. I love you.
And she started crying. She was so excited.
Well, also to see her react, like I was just on tour, and so she was on tour with me. And right at the end of the tour, we went to go see Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish started her tour. And so every night I was doing meet and greets with my fans, and they hug you and they cry and they love you, and you're used to, like, you get used to it. It's like a beautiful thing. It's, you know, my manager Benny always jokes like that's my favorite part of the show because I love meeting the people afterwards and hearing them and stories and all that. And then watch my daughter freak out over Billie Eilish. And it was like, I was like, what? Like, because she's my daughter,
right.
Like we're just regular people.
Right.
Like, but when I'm working, I don't know. It was like a weird kind of like 3D vision of myself.
Yeah, out of
but
body, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she walked in the room, Billie Eilish, after the concert, and my daughter goes, and I looked at her and I'm like, what's the matter? And she's literally the tears because since she's 8 years old, now she's 12, she's idolized this girl, and for whatever reason, her songs and the words she says she connects to, and she loves her style, and whatever it is moves her. And I was like, oh my God, like it made me think like, oh my God, my fans that's why they're crying. Like I don't, you feel like, I don't know, like it never connected until I saw my daughter do it.
Right.
And I'm not articulating it well, but it was a mind-blowing experience for me. It made me appreciate, what I do more, my fans more, what Billie did for my daughter, you know what I mean? Like all of it was like a full circle moment. But yeah, we love Billie.
You mentioned that you've done thousands upon thousands of interviews. What's the question you hate being asked the most? And is it this one? Is it this one?
Is it this one? No.
No, okay, all right.
No.
All
It wasn't that one.
Okay.
I don't like when people say, you can only do one thing.
Uh-oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, take that one off the list.
Yeah, all right.
You can only sing or you can only act for the rest of your life. Choose one.
What
This
do
is
you
like
choose?
the antithesis of who I am as a person.
But if you had to choose.
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, come on.
No, that's the thing.
I mean, right. But what would you?
But I don't have to.
But if you did.
But I won't.
Acting? Or no singing? No. Okay.
I don't.
Dancing?
And everybody asks that question. It's like you wait for it in every interview.
So what you got to do right now is just answer it right now.
I have answered it in 25 million different fucking ways.
Okay. All right. Well, here's a question you probably haven't been asked again. Am I going to get invited to the wedding?
It hasn't come up.
Like, where am I?
We haven't discussed it yet.
Right. I feel like we're doing better than so let's actually
last
go
time?
back to last time.
When you
I'd
were
like
in
to
my
officially
refrigerator.
apologize for that on behalf of Alex because it was his fault. We were taping a bunch of stuff in your home in LA.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, and you were coming home, and Alex said it would be really funny if if Jennifer walked in, it was just you and Hank in the kitchen, and he hid
Eating ice cream,
and you walked in, and I've never been more scared for my life.
Yeah.
So apologies for that. How mad were you? Like I thought about it. Like we got back in the car after, and we're
I
like,
don't think I was mad in that moment, but I was kind of surprised. Like, what the fuck? And then when I saw later that you were like pouring chips or doing whatever you did on my pool table,
Yep.
or on my couch or whatever, then I was pissed.
yeah, you had
I was
every
like-
right. We got in the car after, and we're like, actually thinking about that, like Jennifer probably just got off like 12 hours of work, walked into her home, and a stranger was eating ice cream out of the container in her kitchen.
Doing a bit, and I was like,
not the smart, not our smartest move. That's okay. Yeah. But so I think we're doing better now.
this is great.
Yeah. So now would you say wedding? I don't know. I don't know.
I'd have to talk, I have to talk to the boss.
I would settle just for the bachelor party, by the way.
There is no bachelor party.
I'll throw the bachelor party.
Thank you.
I have your
You're
credit
not
card.
coming to the wedding.
That's fine. The best friend you can be is to be invited to the bachelor party and then skip the wedding. That's great.
That's good.
Yeah, the fun
That works
friend.
for you?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Sign that right now. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just mark it down that I'll be ready for the wedding whenever you guys want me to be there. Have you guys announced a date?
We will in season 4.
Oh, great tease. That's a great tease. Great.
I got a little lightning round.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes.
And then I know you may want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so lightning round, I'm going to go with favorite movie,
West Side Story.
favorite color,
Green.
Brazil or Morocco,
Brazil.
London or Ibiza,
Ibiza.
LA or New York,
New York.
Vegas or Africa.
I actually enjoyed my time in Vegas.
Jeff Lee wrote this one. Coffee or tea,
Coffee.
TikTok or Instagram. Ooh.
Depends on the day.
Gotta pick one.
Really?
This is the Corp.
Let that be the teaser for this interview.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'll say TikTok for the dancing.
All right. And if you had one last meal, what would that meal be?
I would probably want my mom to cook rice and beans and chicken.
Nice. And then last one of the lightning round at the Corp. Describe these people with one word.
Oh,
Ryan Seacrest.
driven,
Leah Remini.
crazy,
Ice Cube.
solid.
Vinny Viola.
Vinny Viola, the Don.
Michael Rapoli.
Michael Rapoli. In one word? That's not easy.
Mets.
Amazing.
Ooh, last lightning round. Dancing or singing?
No.
You pick one for the rest
No,
of your
I
life.
would throw my shoe at
Okay.
you.
All right. I do have two last questions. The first one, if you were to acquire a baseball team, what's the first thing you do as an owner?
I think besides all of the stuff that you would do to let everybody know that you were there to win, I think I would really try to understand the community around. Like really, I feel like everything in New York starts in the neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And I think you have to really familiarize yourself with who your core audience is, who's going to be there all the time, who your real fans are. That to me, the fans are always the most important thing, and everything you do, because it's not just sports, it's entertainment, and you have to. Everything is in service of the customer. Everything's in service of your fans.
Okay, well, if that does happen, hypothetically, I have
Yes.
the perfect guy for you. I know the most miserable Mets fan in the entire world,
that?
my friend Kevin, so I will have a one-on-one interview. He will just bitch and moan about the Mets for like however much time you have, and then you'll learn everything about it. I swear to God, it will be great. All right, my last question. Has Alex gotten better at texting since the first text from the first date?
It's only been up since then.
Okay.
Everything's been great
Okay.
since then.
Okay.
Thank God.
So he's a good texter.
yeah.
Okay.
He is a good texter.
Yeah. I text him. I always think he's prompt,
Yes.
always responding.
Responsive.
Weird times.
On.
I text you like at 2 a.m. sometimes.
Yeah, it was weird when
Yeah.
you did text me the "you look sexy AF." He
2 in
texted
the
me,
morning.
yeah, to me, and I was like, okay. But no, yeah, he's always on the go. When he texts me, there's been many times where I've woken up and you've been like, "Quick idea," and I look and I'm like, it's fucking 4 a.m. What? Why do you have an idea at 4 a.m.?
I know.
That's kind of why you guys.
I think when I met Alex, I realized, and we were together for like a year, I was like, oh my God, this is what it's like to be with me.
Yes, it's perfect.
We are the same person in many, many ways. And work ethic is definitely one of them. I think that's what made him one of the best baseball players of all time. It was his work ethic. I believe that is a thread amongst all of the greats. You have to put in the work.
So pretty much what you're saying is your kids are going to be like presidents and everything because it's like.
I hope they have the same
Yeah,
work ethic.
put the work
They have
ethic
their
in, yeah.
life is a little bit easier than.
By the way,
True.
By the way, we're the true like underdogs. Like we are like David in the Goliath world. I mean, we didn't go to college. We lived the American dream.
We both grew up with holes in our shoes.
New Yorkers, holes in our shoes. And if we can do it, then all our listeners, all our viewers can actually do it. And that's what we hope to do, is to inspire the next generation.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Did I
Jen.
pass?
Welcome. You did good today.
I'm not as nervous as I was to start.
Good,
That was probably
good.
the most nervous I've been in. I interview people for a living. That was the most nervous I've been probably in like 3 years.
Thank you.
So-
Because ever since you did that in the kitchen, it was like I'm your mom.
Yeah, and
It was like,
yes.
Mom's coming.
Also, I might ruin it with this last statement, but it's also you really smell really good.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
like,
You always
smell
do.
good. And I'm like a downwind right now.
Yes.
So.
Okay, it's
yeah,
time
I
to end
ruined
the
it.
interview.
Yeah, okay, all right.
It's about
Thank you,
that
Jennifer.
time.
Thank you guys. Thank you.